Attorneys, when is the right time to sell your law firm? When I talk to attorneys who are thinking about an exit, they're usually tired or burned out, or they got a cold call from someone that's willing to buy from them like tomorrow. Just a heads up, these are the wrong time to sell your law firm. That's what this video is about today. So, a quick background on myself. My name is Hugo E. Gomez. I'm the founder of Abogados Now. We've helped over 500 law firms nationwide, mainly with Hispanic lead generation. We've helped generate well over $250 million in settlement fees. And we're also the only Hispanic legal marketing company that is a Google Premier partner, which puts us at the top 3% of agencies in the United States. I've personally built marketing systems for companies that sold and sold for big numbers, 8, 9, 10 figures. And I ultimately know what ready to sell actually looks like. So I hope I can help you out.
Before we continue, a quick note and the only break you'll hear in today's episode. Most attorneys know they should be reaching Hispanic clients, but very few do it well. That's where we come in. At Abogados Now, we build authentic Spanish language campaigns that actually get you more cases and grow your practice. So, if you're looking for a new way to get more clients, book a call with our team today at abogadosnow.com. Now, let's get back to the episode.
So here's the thing, most attorneys, they wait until they're exhausted or sick or desperate to sell. And by then, your options are limited and your leverage is virtually gone. You end up taking whatever offer shows up because you just don't have the energy to negotiate or the time to prepare. That's really not an exit, that's a fire sale. Roy Ginsberg, who's consulted over 200 law firms on succession planning, says it plainly. When those conversations don't progress, it's usually because the lawyer isn't ready to confront the decisions in front of them. So keep in mind that the real barrier to a successful exit isn't the market, it's usually the lawyer. Point number one, you want to sell from strength, never from exhaustion or worse, desperation. This is the most important principle in the entire exit conversation. The best time to sell, frankly, is when you don't need to. That's when you have leverage, when the firm is growing, when you're super energized, when you love to wake up and do your job. That's when buyers are competing for you, not when you're crawling towards the finish line. And if you're selling because you're burned out, trust me, the buyer knows. They can read it across the conference room table. And here's what's worse. They'll actually price in your desperation. They can smell exhaustion and it shows up in your financials, it shows up in your pipeline, in your data room or your lack of a data room, and ultimately in how you show up to the negotiation table. So sign number one that you're selling from exhaustion, you dread Monday mornings, you hate the idea of going to work. That used to be the fuel, and now it's just like this weight, it's like this burden. You don't want people to know that. Also, you haven't taken a real vacation in, let's call it 3, 4, 5 years and you fantasize about this exit, but you haven't done a single thing to prepare for it. If that's you, we're going to talk about how you can start preparing now. Because, when you sell tomorrow, it just yields bad results, bad multiples. But when you have preparation, you get the luxury of choosing when to sell, how much to sell for. It's a totally different ballgame. So here's point number two. There's a 5-year window that's not optional. I know it sounds dramatic, but you have to prepare with up to 5 years of preparation. It's math, and I'll show you how. Exit planning starts about 5 years before a sale, not 5 months. And the firms that sell with the most multiples, the highest multiples rather, they prepared for up to half a decade. The Law Practice Exchange says that the most successful transitions start 6 to 18 months before listing. That's just the listing. The real preparation starts earlier. So every year that you wait costs you leverage and options and ultimately multiples. And a firm that starts preparing today at $10 million in revenue will sell for significantly more than the same firm that starts preparing 4 years from now. So here's what years 1 and 2 look like. You clean up your financials, you really clean books, you hire leadership to do all the critical high leverage work, and then you kind of fire yourself. It's foundational, yes, to fire yourself. You ultimately need operations and a brand, meaning a lot of what the marketing is rooted in, to exist independently of you. The next couple years are about, growing up your operations, namely with how you get cases and attribution. So build attribution, Diversify the channels for which you get cases and document everything. Everything that a paralegal does, everything that an intake person does, everything that you do. You want that in an SOP. So when you do this, you de-risk the whole firm from existing within a vacuum all in your head. And lastly, you have a data room ready. This is close to a sale. You have every SOP, all of your books are certified, they're super clean, they're ideally automated at this point. You have forward pipeline modeled out, meaning you know what revenues are looking like, what profits are looking like, what headcount is looking like 3, 4, 5 years from now. You have multiple conversations started with potential buyers. Now, when you get to the day of the sale, you're not choosing between offers and you're not just begging for one. Which brings us to point number 3. If your firm can't run without you for 90 days, you're not ready. So here's a 90-day test that is the most honest diagnostic you'll ever take. Can you disappear for 90 days and the firm not lose a step? If the answer is yes, congrats, you're sellable. If not, you have a lot of work to do. So hire or promote a COO who runs day-to-day without you. This is the single most important hire you'll make before an exit. Someone who owns day-to-day operations so you can step back without the firm losing a step. And if you have multiple attorneys, transition the top client relationships to them. If every key client only talks to you, the buyer sees key man risk on every single account. So start to transition now, not during diligence. And if you really want to stress test that 90-day concept, take a real 2-week vacation where you leave your phone at home, your laptop at home, see what happens, see what breaks, then fix it. Whatever breaks is exactly what will be discounted in diligence. And it's a really cheap diagnostic that you can run today. Point number 4, you want to sell when the market wants what you have. Right now, private equity, they want law firms. Roll-ups are the name of the game right now. But that hasn't always been the case. PE interest in law firms hit an inflection point in the last couple of years. And MSO structures, and if you're not familiar with MSOs, those are management service organizations, which is how PE invests in law firms without violating non-lawyer ownership rules. These are repeatable and financeable. Sidley Austin published a detailed analysis confirming this shift. So here's a quick definition on MSOs. PE invests in law firms without violating non-lawyer ownership rules. The MSO handles operations, marketing, billing, and admin. Think of this massive umbrella operation. The law firm retains all of the legal decision making. This is a structure that's made PE investment in legal services possible at scale. The window is open right now, but it won't stay open forever. Market windows are cyclical. BDO projected accurately that over $130 billion in transactions would happen in the last 12 months. That's a 30% increase year over year. The reality is that PE dry powder is at record levels. Capital needs to be deployed, and more states are opening up to this non-lawyer ownership structure. Arizona, obviously the pioneer in this. Now it's Utah, DC, Puerto Rico. The infrastructure exists for these deals now. 2 years ago, it was just a concept. However, 5 years from now, the window might close. A lot of things change very quickly. Number 5, don't sell because someone called. Sell because you're ready. If your first conversation about exit is with the buyer, you probably already lost. They have information that you don't. They've done this before. You probably haven't. They know the multiples. They know the playbook. And they know you're probably not prepared. The prepared seller has 3 to 5 conversations going. The unprepared seller has 1, and it's on the buyer's terms. Leverage, again, comes from options, and options come from all the preparation that we talked about earlier. So get a formal valuation done by someone independent, not the buyer. If the first time you hear what your firm is worth is from the person trying to buy it, that number is not in your favor, and it's wrong. Getting a valuation done, $5,000 to $10,000. Even if you're not ready to buy, it's great to know what your firm is worth today. So build your data room before diligence starts, not during. In these videos about PE buyers, we talk about GAAP compliant financials, clean data for a couple of years. You need all of that ready to go. You need an attorney just for this potential transaction. You need an advisor on your side. Everything else is a fire sale with better lighting. Which brings us to point number 6. The emotional exit is harder than the financial one. Very few people talk about this, but it derails more exits than bad financials. Let's talk about identity. You've been a lawyer for 20 to 30 years. Who are you without it? Your name's on the door, your staff depends on you, your clients trust you personally, they refer you to their friends and family, their cousins, their coworkers. The emotional weight of walking away is something no spreadsheet prepares you for. So plan for what comes after, not just the check, the wire, the Monday morning when the phone stops ringing. Roy Ginsberg, that consultant that we cited earlier, says that most retiring lawyers assume the hardest part will be finding the right buyer. But in truth, he says, it's the emotional side that surprises them the most. Your team will have questions you don't have answers to yet. Your clients will feel a little abandoned if the transition isn't handled carefully. So the first 3 months after the sale are pretty lonely. The attorneys who plan for this transition are the ones who come out whole. So plan for the emotional exit as well with the same rigor that you plan for the financial one. Point number 7, the right time is when you have the luxury of choosing, not when you're forced, not when you're sick. Again, when you decide. So to recap, you want to sell from strength, never from exhaustion. You want that 5-year window to prepare. You need to run that 90-day stress test. If your firm can operate without you for 90 days, you're probably ready to sell. You also want to sell when the market wants what you have. It isn't always guaranteed, so you have to be perceptive of these trends. You don't want to sell when someone just called you. That's selling from desperation. There's no leverage there. You also want to prepare for the emotional part of an exit. Go to a therapist. And lastly, the right time is when you have the luxury of choosing. At Abogados Now, we build the marketing systems that make you ready to choose. Attribution, intake, brand, diversification. This is the infrastructure that buyers pay premiums for. So not sure if you're ready? Let's look at your marketing infrastructure together. We can help you there in that domain at a pretty elite level. So book a call. The link is in the description. Let's talk.